And 1983, President then, Shehu Shagari, January 17th, 1983, Baba announced that any undocumented immigrants in the country should leave. And he gave them only just 2 weeks. The deadline was actually 31st of January 1983. And they had to leave. That was how they had to source for that bag, that it was the most common bag they could lay their hands on, the most cheapest bag then that they could lay their hands on to pack all their stuffs and all of that. They had to leave just 2 weeks. But the difference between the Nigerian immigrants that were driven from Ghana back to Nigeria was that they were well-to-do traders compared to the immigrants that we drove out of Nigeria. Those were just teachers and artisans.
They were just teachers and artisans. The arrogance that seeps through these ones is beyond disgusting and nauseating. Hi everyone, welcome to Ghana Observer. I came across this video and I just wanted to do a brief review to debunk some of the lies, outright lies, exaggerations, embellishments that some make, hoping something sticks, and then it sticks, and then they think it's truth. They perceive it as truth. There's nothing just about teachers and artisans. The way he put it, he was trying to say only, nothing better than. Just can mean fair, like a just decision, a fair decision. But the way he put it was insulting and belittling, because how are you saying that there were only, nothing better than teachers and artisans compared to the so-called quote-unquote wealthy traders? But I guess it's an improvement, because it used to be, Ghanaians were only used to shine our shoes. They used to be our drivers. They were our maid servants. And let's ask ourselves, what was the environment for Ghanaians to only be able to do that? Was it an enabling environment? We're going to see how they treated Ghanaians while we're there from their own fellow Nigerian. So you insult, you belittle, whether you know it or not. And then when you are called out, you claim it's banter. Teachers are who made us who we are today. Artisans contribute hugely to society. They are carpenters, they are jewelers, make jewels, they make glassware, create art. All these are noble professions. So for you to say nothing but it's the usual way of always trying to belittle Ghana and Ghanaians. And then when you call them out, as I said, we were only bantering, we were only joking. What is the emotional intelligence of people who are always trying to act like they are better than, when you are not? It's only inferiority complex that always wants to drag people down to their level. Because I don't understand the way they use their words. It doesn't make sense. It's almost like me saying, I had a plate of juicy steak, but you only just had some dried fish. You are being dismissive. So he started off by belittling and insulting. And now to the part where he tries to equate what happened in 1969 to what happened in 1983. Remember, he said Ghanaians in 1983 were given 2 weeks to leave Nigeria. Also recall that in 1983, ECOWAS had been established, whereas in 1969, there was no ECOWAS, which was founded in 1975.
But they never told you something. They never told you that in 1969, Ghanaians were actually the first ones that pulled that stunt. Yes, Ghanaians pulled that stunt in 1969. Kofi Busa, the Prime Minister there of Ghana, he pulled that stunt. He drove over 2.5 million immigrants, of which more than 50% were Nigerians. So it was like a tit for tat.
Now here's the truth of what happened in 1969. The Aliens Compliance Order, often associated with Dr. Kofi Busia's government in Ghana, was a policy implemented in 1969 to address perceived economic and social issues, particularly unemployment and crime. It mandated that all non-Ghanaians register with the government and provide proof of their legal status. I'm going to repeat that. It mandated. It did not say self-deport. It did not say flee when no one is chasing you. It said, it mandated that All non-Ghanaians register with the government and provide proof of their legal status. I'm going to pause there so that it sinks in. Leading to the expulsion of many immigrants, including those from Nigeria. So someone please explain again why the so-called quote-unquote wealthy traders fled and left their so-called mansions behind if they were legally in the Gold Coast doing legitimate business to attain and acquire their wealth. Someone please make it make sense. No one attacked you like you attacked Ghanaians.
As far back as 1982, when I was in Jos, I was one of the person Nigeria was also pursuing to say go back to Ghana. Yes, they attacked me several times. They captured me even inside the vehicle. If I had known, I would have followed them to Ghana. And
why did they say that?
They say I look like Ghanaian. They say my structure, my face, everything look like Ghanaian. I black like Ghana, so I must go. I say I'm not Ghanaian, so I'm a Nigerian. Until they took me to my state, Cross River State, to find out with my parents, and that is why they released me. If not, they chase Ghana like if you are chasing animal. Say Ghana must go. I'm like the way I am now. They pursue Ghana, and that's why you see this Ghana must go. They fold themselves, they fold them to go back. You know, sometimes when people look down on somebody, God carried you up.
You heard it from their fellow Nigerian. They attacked him because he looked like a Ghanaian. And then they'll come and say, it's the same. You put us out first. You chased us out first. And now it wasn't the same. There's a vast difference from asking you to come and prove your legal status in a country versus being given 2 weeks to vacate a country and being beaten, chased, and deleted in the process on their way out. They were in buses. I hope you heard him. I've put the channel names on screen. So go check out both videos on their respective YouTube channels. Just because he looked Ghanaian until he took them to his parents' village. Then you come and say it's the same thing. And now let's see what those so-called wealthy people who were at the time in the Gold Coast, what they were using their so-called wealth to do in the Gold Coast instead of in the Slave Coast, which at that time comprised of parts of Nigeria, Togo, and Benin. Apparently, as far back in 1932, there was a cocoa hold-up crisis where the Nigerian cocoa farmers in the Achim Abuakwa area opposed local, that is Ghanaian, at that time Gold Coast, cocoa farmers led by the king of the town against European firms. So the Nigerians who had come to a conducive environment and had been allowed to become cocoa farmers sided with European firms against Ghanaian, at that time Gold Coast farmers. Yeah, you heard that right. And all their shenanigans, including their forming an opposition party, the Muslim Association Party, led to the 1957 deportation by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, or by his party, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's party. People who have no respect for boundaries. What they cannot do in their country, they want to come to your country and do. The chutzpah, the nerve, and the audacity. And when you talk, they'll come and bring false narratives to justify their fibs and untruths.
Yes, some of them actually saw it coming. They knew it was actually due. They knew that Nigeria was going to take a revenge. But I won't say it was like a revenge. We're actually going through our own. But the funny thing is that there's really no evidence that after chasing immigrants from this nation on both sides, the economy became better. The economy never became better. The economy never became better.
Speak for yourself. Ghanaians and Ghana, we are not there yet, but we're on the right trajectory. So speak for Nigeria and not on behalf of Ghana and Ghanaians.
So this story actually still linger in the hearts of Ghanaians. Although I know most present generation, the Gen Z, some actually still keep in touch with history, but most people don't really know this story. So they must have told them the story. And you know that kind of thing. It's like when your papa or your mama when I get that kind of boy, like say, not really they flow. They're not gonna tell you say, this person don't do me this, a bad person, but you they observe them. So that I guess as stories have been passed down, and the present generation, not like they are vindictive of whatever banter that is playing between Nigeria and Ghana. I know we are brothers, we are neighboring countries, we are cousins.
Actually, as a matter of fact, those who returned were so traumatized, they barely spoke of their experience in Nigeria. It's only recently that Nigerians who are in Ghana thought they could raise their shoulders and do whatever and bully and push Ghanaians around on our own land, that people started coming out. Because if those who came back had told us the story as it's being told now, Ghanaians wouldn't have accommodated you like they did. So many of you are here. You've been accommodated. We've been hospitable to you. But the insults and the disrespect is what is causing the story to reach the new generation. Because think about it. If Ghanaians had known what they know now, most of you would be so uncomfortable in Ghana. And as you can see, things are changing. It's because now the story is being told. Because of how Nigerians or some Nigerians are behaving in Ghana. The disrespect, the belittling on our own land, not going to happen. And as by now you should know that Ghanaians are very slow to anger. But when we get there, it's game over.
But the Ghana one, there was a kind of like a beef that, Nigerians, we are very, very, we have this kind of ginger, and it was as if, irrespective of the economy crashing as at then, Nigerians were doing better. And that kind of thing, like, they used have to drive us, and they want some kind of unfair treatment. When I did my research, yes, some kind of unfair treatment that we were already receiving. And this was despite the economic community of West African states laws and agreement that they already put in place to allow for trade between such countries and even for movements within such African states. But on both leadership ends, they never looked at it. They were like, okay, cool. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yep, crazy indeed. And he's just rambling at this point. But it was you Nigerians who said F ECOWAS. Because in 1957 and 1969, there was no ECOWAS. In 1983, it was you Nigerians who now you are so into ECOWAS. You said F ECOWAS. But now you've changed your tune, right? Because you're benefiting from ECOWAS. And while I'm on the subject of that useless organization that is of no benefit to Ghanaians, I've started seeing coded messages when reading comments. You know you can go to Togo after 90 days and come back. What matters is that you are in the country legally. The 90 days allows you to stay in the country, but you're not supposed to work. If you want to work, then you have to go through the process of acquiring a work permit and a residence permit. So you can go back and forth 90 days, because I've started seeing those messages. Oh, you can go to Benin and come back. You can go to Ivory Coast and come back. It's not going to work. And we see through it. Folks, I'm going to end it here. Thanks so much for watching. To my amazing subscribers, thank you for your continued support. And to my new subscribers, I so appreciate you. Like, I gained a lot of subscribers within the past couple of days. And I am so grateful. So thank you. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.